This is Francie Ely, and I am going to review A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This book was originally published in 1905. It was actually a short story first called Sarah Crewe and her, Sarah Crewe and her, or What Happened at Miss Minchin's, was a short story, and then Mrs. Hodgson Burnett wrote it into a book in 1905. This version was published in 1963 with the new illustrations in the US. This author also wrote The Secret Garden. She wrote Little Lord Fauntleroy, so you've probably heard of some of those. And I love this book because it is a classic book, and that's what the genre is considered, is classic literature. And the definition of classic literature is that they have memorable and diverse characters, which they do. We have little Sarah Crewe and her father, who plays a big role in her life because her mother is dead. And another one of the literary sense of classic novels is it has a good style, fully realized settings, satisfying story structure and development. So I'll go over a few of those, also larger timeless themes and truths, which we definitely get in A Little Princess. It can also be considered a fairy tale, even though there is no magic that happens in this book. The characters believe that there is magic, and they talk about how it's just like a fairy tale several times in the book. And so even though it doesn't contain any magic, it probably could be considered a fairy tale because it is a little bit of that. So for the story, Sarah Crewe is 7 years old, and she is the daughter of a very wealthy man. And he has to go away to go work in different places, and so he sends her to a boarding school, and she's what's called a parlor boarder, and which means that she has no private room, she has a private maid, she has every possible luxury a 7-year-old child could have. And instead of it making her spoiled and selfish, it makes her very down to earth, and she is kind, and she is sweet, and she is considerate to everyone that she comes across in the book, which leads her to get the title of A Little Princess. And it is not given in a very nice way by her schoolmates, but she behaves like a princess nonetheless. And the story develops as she goes in, and she's very lavishly treated at this school, and then she gets word that her father is dead, and she's now left penniless. And so the owner of the boarding school, Miss Minchin, turns her into a maid, basically, and puts her in this little tiny room in the top of the attic of the school, and it's cold, and it's awful, and she's treated very badly. But through it all, Sarah remains constant and kind, and makes friends with everyone that she comes across. I wanted to show a little bit of the illustrations, which I really love. This is Sarah and her dad when they are shopping for her beloved doll, Emily, in the beginning of the book, that she gets to take with her to keep her company while she is in the boarding school and her father is away. She has a very special relationship with Emily, and Emily, she looks and looks and looks for the right doll, and then is able to find her, and she has many conversations with her and a really lovely relationship. I also wanted to read just a portion of one of the things that I love most about this book and why I chose this book. This is not the first time I've read this book. I've read it many times. But one of the things that I love is Frances Hodgson Burnett's style of writing is beautiful. She has beautiful language, beautiful words. If a kid today was to read this book, they probably wouldn't know some of the words, but it would give them the chance to expand the vocabulary. But one of the, I just wanted to give you a feel for the words. So she says, if nature has made you for a giver, your hands are born open, and so is your heart. And though there may be times when your hands are empty, your heart is always full, and you can give things out of that, warm things, kind things, sweet things. help and comfort and laughter, and sometimes gay, kind laughter is the best help of all. And this book is full of little gems like that, and beautiful language and beautiful ideas that go with it. And I also chose this book because it celebrates imagination in kids. And Sarah and her friends, Sarah has this amazing imagination, and she brings all of the girls into her imagination, and they want to hear her stories, and they want to hear all of the things that she's imagined. In fact, when she is in the attic, she's given gifts from a benefactor next door who sees the dire conditions she's living in, and he sneaks in and gives her warm blankets and things like that that aren't really total comforts, but they're necessities, but she doesn't have them in her life, and she thinks that she has imagined them into existence. So it's a really wonderful thing. This book, it treats us that we can be kind and behave like a perfectly polished princess, even when others are not treating us like that. Sarah remains a constant and strong character throughout the book, and she is a lovely, lovely girl, and in the end we are kind of given the gift of where good is rewarded and bad is punished. So that's why I think you should read this book.